So, how's everybody been doing this week?
Honestly, I've been kind of stressed out. It's just been like a whole bunch of moving parts, just like dealing with the coronavirus and I don't know, classes. I got like behind in classes this week, so now I'm playing catch up. Then I'm figuring out how to move out of state. So it's just been kind of stressful this week.
For me, I'm the same. I'm kind of falling behind in my classes too, but just trying to catch up and uh, keep focused and yeah.
I agree. It's been a stressful week for me too, and trying to apply for jobs on top of figuring out classes has been a lot, but one day at a time. So, one way to kind of alleviate the stress a little bit, make everybody feel more relaxed, I thought of an icebreaker question is what do you like to do for fun? Like, what are some of your hobbies?
For me, I like to play a lot of video games. Lately, I've been playing a lot of NBA 2K just because of the quarantine and stuff. And I guess like I try to read a lot of books. Try to keep up with the news.
Personally, I like playing video games. Like my favorite game is Call of Duty. I like playing online and shooting people. And I also like those complex type of games in which you have to like kind of based on the decision that you make, it affects what happens in the next scene. So there could be multiple alternatives of how your game can end up. Like I'm playing The Walking Dead right now too. And so that's probably one of the things I enjoy doing in my free time.
And for me, I've been cooking a lot of meals, trying to eat healthier. Like I have an air fryer and like I like trying new stuff with that. It makes me sound like an old lady, but
Well, speaking of just things that we enjoy doing in our free time, in this week's topic, we're going to be talking about side hustles.
to kick things off, how would you all define a side hustle?
Yeah, for me, a side hustle is just an extra avenue of income, just trying to make some additional money, trying to be an entrepreneur. That's kind of gives me entrepreneurship vibes when I think about side hustles.
Do you all currently have any side hustles? And if so, what is it?
Currently, for me, I don't. I kind of got a little busy. I like helping out my parents with their store, working here, and like just school stuff. So I don't. I would really want one. I think like definitely like playing video games and getting paid for it. That's my dream.
One of the few things that I was doing, I was preparing taxes. So I had did a class and I was working for Jackson Hewitt for a little bit. So I started doing some of my friends' taxes. Growing up, like I had experience of just doing different side hustles. In kindergarten, I was selling like those bracelets, those handmade bracelets. Then seventh grade, I started selling like what are those? Those Tootsie Rolls. What are those? Those blue and green ones. What you call those? Fruities. There we
Yep.
go. Sell those fruities. And so, but nah, I think like, and then I did like Postmates, DoorDash a little bit, but I don't like the way that's set up. That's not really my type of boat right there. So, but I most definitely want to do some type of side hustle, but just right now it's just a little bit too busy.
You're a hustler. That's
Yeah, you gotta get this bread.
I used to sell Girl Scout cookies like from kindergarten through high school. So I guess that's a side hustle, but it's not like a current one. And like they had us out there working like round the clock on the corner.
Like definitely, they'll be the biggest hustlers too.
So do you believe that side hustles are a necessity in 2020? Why or why not?
I think so, only because, well, I'm not gonna say a necessity, but I think it's more prominent now because of like the generation that we're living in. Like people are our generation, Gen Zs and millennials, they're more want to be entrepreneurs and things of that nature. And I think also with the cost of living rising in Chicago, um, it probably is actually a necessity because it teaches you a skill of like grit and perseverance. And it's also it just helps you like kind of combat the cost of living. Chicago is so expensive, and you're not making like a decent job, you're gonna have to have some type of other side hustle.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Christy. Since like cost of living has definitely gone up significantly in major cities, wages have stagnated. Um, so I think it is definitely a necessity. For me, like I think it's not only just like side hustles, because side hustles are like something people are like passionate about sometimes. It's also like having like another additional source of income. So I think like the amount of people that have had like part-time jobs has also gone up. Like for example, speaking personally, I think that like I've had a job, I've had two jobs since I was a senior in high school. So you know, it's just like I think this generation, they've had to like they've had to come up with additional sources of income just to make ends meet, and you know, uh, it's just necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like I felt like a lot of students at DePaul, especially because we all come from like diverse backgrounds, many of us do have multiple jobs, and like we might not even view it as a side hustle, but I guess it could be seen as one. How do you feel about people that turn their side hustles into full-time jobs?
I think that like it's pretty cool. I know, for example, Draymond, uh,
Green,
last name. I'm sorry.
green.
No, no, no. Not a basketball player, but Draymond, the guy who's invented FUBU.
Fubu. Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
He,
Boo
yeah.
Yeah, Fubu. You know
boo.
what Fubu is. Sam. Sam, you know what Fubu is. The clothing design. It was with
Oh,
Rockaware.
Damon John, the dude from Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So it stands for us, by us, right?
Mhm.
So it's streetwear designed, I guess, for us, by us. And so basically, the way he started out was he would make his own clothes and he would sell it. And in my opinion, that's a side hustle. And eventually, he got so big that you know he acquired like new clients. He acquired new um, like he got so big that now he has like his own show. He wrote like 2 3 books. He's like a successful entrepreneur. And eventually, like that's what I think happens with when you turn a side hustle into a full-time job is you become an entrepreneur and you eventually you acquire enough clientele to turn that into a business.
I think it's pretty a good thing because a lot of people end up like working jobs that they absolutely hate. And so a lot of entrepreneurs, they have this full-time job because they need to pay the bills until they're able to, get to the things that they actually want to do. And so I think it's pretty good for people to actually use their side hustles as a way of a full-time job because it's more of like something that they want to do and is meant for them. And so, like for example, it's this clothing company called My Block, My Hood, My City. And it's this African American man from Chicago who tries to use his clothing line to unite the streets of Chicago. And he also gives back. It's also a nonprofit organization, and he gives back to the community. So I think that way he combined what he loves in addition to doing something for the community. So I think side hustles are really turned into a full-time jobs are really good.
I follow this one CEO. Her name's Cole Banks, and she enjoys like traveling. And she's like this black woman that's middle aged, and she used to work in corporate America. But her love for solo traveling inspired her to start her own company called Sisters Traveling Solo. And
Mm-hmm.
through that company, she's been able to take groups of women to different countries around the world, and now that she's a CEO, like she could let go of that other job that she had and do what makes her happy. And like that's definitely something like I aspire to do one day is to do what makes me happy so it never feels like work again. Even though we have this era of quarantine, so of course like traveling is not very realistic right now, but and whenever this opens back up, like it'll be great to do something like that.
Personally, like I learned that I hate the 9 to 5. I feel as if that is way too much time in a day to make someone else rich. And so one of my goals is to become a financial planner as a finance major because I like being able to teach youth and just families about financial literacy, the importance of building wealth. So like one of my goals in life is to have my own business in which I can have clients from all over the world and teach them about financial planning.
Only 10% of companies in the U.S. are on the Fortune 500. The rest, 90%, are all small businesses.
Hmm.
So I mean, yeah, you're like right on that. Uh,
Right.
yeah.
Would it be better to keep multiple streams of income or for everyone to do what makes them happy?
It is more practical for people to keep multiple streams of income open rather than for everyone to do what makes them happy. Doing whatever makes you happy does not always result in the most money someone can acquire, and it does not result in the most amount of contributions to society as possible. So people should look at, like, when measuring like what makes them happy versus um, what they want to do versus like what is better for like society, and like whether or not it's better to keep multiple streams of income open. They should look at like the opportunity cost and measure like which option yields like what income, and like what they could be doing to like provide.
It's good to have multiple streams of income because it allows you to be able to accumulate wealth faster and just having that financial security if you're using your money well. But it's always good to start off somewhere. If you're just trying to get to where you want to go first and then bring all the other things, like having a good foundation and building up that infrastructure, then, you know, maybe you should find out doing what you love. Like freelancers, they do it all the time.
Well, one of my dreams is to own to accumulate wealth owning real estate, and I love like, and I eventually want to like become a venture capitalist or something. But I like that's what makes me happy, but I can't do that until like Christy said, I work hard for what I want, and then eventually I'll get there.
Can you talk about the pros and cons for keeping multiple streams of income or for everyone to do what makes them happy?
Yeah, definitely. Well, again, like I said, I've done taxes. I do taxes. And so one thing that people who do have multiple streams of income, they don't like keep track, have a handheld record of all their income. And so they're not filing that with taxes. And so if they're not filing that to the IRS and they're not paying their taxes on them, they can end up owing money. Like I knew someone that I used to work with, they used to do Uber, but Uber wasn't taking taxes out. And so they had to pay like $3,000 in taxes at the end of the year. So that's probably a con, only if you're not taking it into consideration or you're not keeping track of your income. Another thing is depending on what type of multiple streams of income that you're doing, saying maybe you're owning a laundry, you own laundry storefront, or you're doing taxes, or you're doing dog walking, babysitting, and all these different things, you can kind of spread yourself out thin. And it's important that your multiple streams of income can not only relieve you financially, but also it helps give you like a free of it helps your mental health as well. But a pro is again having that stability of multiple income just in case right now people lost their jobs and they didn't have another source of income, so they're struggling right now. So having your different backup plan for a backup plan, like that's important. That's a pro. And then a pro with being happy with doing what you love is just physical. It's just satisfaction. You get that dopamine of you doing what you thought you were meant to do in life. And inspires you to continue and to grow your business and to just continue to thrive in what you do. A con. A con is that sometimes it can take a long time for what you do to become profitable.
I think a con of like um, for everyone doing like whatever makes them happy is like you might not always have the support that you want.
What are some ideas that you have heard of for students to pursue as a side hustle?
Again, just a lot of people who are doing Uber. I knew someone who was a house sitter for rich people. So they were going across the city of Chicago just house sitting their houses. Another thing was people turned like their hobbies into something like a side hustle as well. I know Pratik, one of our other people on our peer financial team, he does graphic design, design, logo design, stuff like that. He does entrepreneurship with that.
A couple other avenues the students could pursue that I found from my research. One was mystery shopping, and there's like this website called Bestmark, and basically you would go and do your regular shopping that you would at whatever store, like Target for instance, and you would basically go back and complete a survey saying like what your experience was like and how it could be improved, and you can get paid for that, and without having to do anything extra outside of your normal routine. Like Christy said, dog walking is another popular one, and there's an app called Rover that students could potentially look into. And kind of building off of what I said earlier about the content creators and influencers, you could look into like monetizing yourself on platforms like YouTube and Instagram and getting sponsorships. Also try to get affiliate links through various brands. Like I know Amazon has one, and if people shop through your Amazon store, then you get some of that profit back.
So thank you all for listening to this week's episode. Join us next Monday at 12 p.m. when we discuss the purchasing power of Gen Z. And also make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at DePaul Central for updates. We hope you guys are staying safe during this quarantine, and we'll be back next week.
Perfect.